Hello and welcome to Youth in Sports, where every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. we feature special guests from near and far. The program is sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, providing certified athletic trainers to more than 30 area high schools and colleges. First State Orthopedics, the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And Wilmington University, where Youth in Sports is produced by the College of Technology's students and faculty. And now, from the studio at President Jack Barcelona's Wilmington University, your hosts for Youth in Sports, AOSSM Mr. Sports Medicine 2012, Dr. Michael Axe, UD and St. Elizabeth's own Dr. Joseph Straight, and co-founder of Youth in Sports, Mr. Walter Laudine.
Good evening, welcome to Youth in Sports at beautiful Wilmington University. I'm Walter Laudine.
Dr. Michael Axe at First State Orthopedics.
And Dr. Joseph Straight.
Where are you from, Joe?
He's from all over.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
Delaware, First State, occasionally Wilmington,
St. Elizabeth's
occasionally
High
Goldie
School,
Beacom.
Delaware University.
Depends on what day of the week it is. Sometimes I don't even stay at my own house.
There you go. No, we aren't going to talk about that today, but we are going to talk about, I asked to have this show because I'm interested in what it's like to be a school board president. You know, so often we kid about in Delaware, there are 400 people that wear all the hats, and we just change hats and do different things. And I mean, we may be up to 500, but probably if I thought about thankless jobs, that the public has no idea of what they do, it's to be on the school board. And then to be, I know my group's difficult, it's like herding cats. I can't imagine it's any different than being a school board president. You have a lot of people that have their opinions on why they became part of it, only to realize that there's a lot more involved to it. Just to give you an idea, folks that are watching, these people volunteer 400 hours of their time per year to take care of the needs of your children, and for no reimbursement. So right now, I hope they just got a ding. Hey, you know what? Maybe I should thank them instead of complaining all the time.
Well, let's introduce our guest.
Absolutely.
To my right is the president of the Colonial School Board, Joseph Laws, but he likes to be called Ted. How you doing, Ted? Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having us.
Next to you is your son, JT Laws.
A guest of our show forever, since he was at a William Penn High School athlete, and then a
UAD football player?
UAD Penn and UAD football player, and then my graduate assistant for 2 years while I was going through school to get his doctorate in physical therapy.
And just for that reason alone, he should be an honored guest.
Well, he is an
He
honored
was
guest.
here for 2 years. I got 20.
He has been.
We should get some sort of, we should get together.
Yeah, I've sat in that seat.
We should get together and get some sort of award.
And now he's with our major sponsor, ATI Physical
Right,
Therapy.
and we were talking to him, and interesting guy. We're going to talk to him too about
Being the son of the school board president.
but we're going to also talk about his job, which is a physical therapist, and he's got some interesting.
Yep, but our focus tonight is on his father and the duties of a school board president. We can have JT on all the time, but we want to thank Mr. Laws for coming down and giving us his insights into this thing, and we hope this show gets shown multiple times, because the process is an interesting one.
Well, let's explain, Ted. You want me to call you Ted?
Yes, please.
What your job is as Colonial School Board President, and how many school board presidents are there?
Well, each school board, of course, has a president. There's 16 different school boards in the state.
And are they all unpaid positions?
All school board positions in the state of Delaware are unpaid.
And who votes you in as the school board president?
The school board president gets voted in by the members of the school board. The school board members get voted in by the general public of the district. So all Colonial School District votes each May for whatever positions are up for the school board. There's 7 members of the school board for Colonial. The district
And your terms are?
every 5 years.
How many
five-year
members?
term.
How many members vote for you?
Members that vote for the individual school board members or the public?
No, the public puts in the school board members.
That's correct.
The school board members vote for you.
Vote for the president.
That's correct. The 7 members of the school board vote.
Okay,
Is it a
7 members.
majority
Okay.
vote? Is
Yes, it's majority vote. You have the president and you have the vice president,
Okay.
or voted.
So in
Tell
other
me this,
words,
is that also just public schools? You said 16. Is that just
Just
public
public
schools?
schools. Just
Do
public.
private schools and
Private schools are not
They're
not held.
They have their own
They're autonomous.
organization,
Right,
correct?
Gotcha.
okay.
Whether it
So-
be a board of directors or a school board or whichever way they do it.
So to get on this, to be able to vote for you, they have to be voted in themselves by the public.
That's correct.
Correct.
And how often do they get voted in?
Every school board member has a 5-year term.
And you have a
5-year.
5-year term.
But the office of president is voted each year.
Gotcha.
So the president's
So
in
the
for 1
president
year,
has to sit for 1 year.
That's
Got it.
correct.
and then he can be voted in again.
That's correct.
For 5 years.
No, 1-year term.
Yeah, but I mean, can you?
How many reps?
How many reps?
different times can you be president? How many
As
years?
many times as.
So there's no limit.
Well, no
in
limit.
term.
There's no limit to that. That's
No
correct.
limit of
There's
term.
no limit to how often you can run for a 5-year term either.
As a
Like
member,
as the governor has a 2-term limit.
Right.
There is no limit for school boards.
so as a member of the community, so I live in Christina School District.
Correct.
Even though my kid may not go to a Christina school, am I still able to vote in the
Absolutely.
board members?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
You're a taxpayer of that school district. We would like everybody to come out and vote. It's very hard to get people to come out and vote for school board elections.
What percentage of people that could vote actually vote for the school board? I think the number's about 10%.
We're very lucky if it's 10%.
Okay.
It's
Shame
very
on
low.
you people. Education's
low.
important. Get out and vote.
But is this
Shame
held
on
as a
me. I
separate?
haven't done it either.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, the general election, Joe.
That's all I was gonna ask.
The general
When's the
election is in November. The school board elections are in May. Okay.
Voting booths?
Voting booths, the whole deal.
Shows you how little I know.
And it's the
The
same place
department-
as your general election?
The same place as a general election normally. There are some variances that happen, depending on the availability of the buildings, those type of things. But the majority of them are at the same places to where you would have the general elections.
Well, that's good for our public to know, because I didn't even know it was a separate time.
It's
I mean,
always,
know it
it's
is.
always well advertised because it's the same process as a general election for the school board elections. It has to be advertised.
But it's
in the
not
paper.
political.
Excuse me?
It's not political.
No, it's not. It's non-political.
So if I'm
Supposed to be
a
non-political.
independent, I can vote no matter what.
Oh, absolutely.
Republican,
No, it's
Democrat.
not.
You don't even have
no.
to be registered to vote. You have to be a resident of the district.
Which makes me eligible to vote.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you move into the district, you're able to go.
So even
vote.
if-
All
What
have
if
to
you
do
were
is
a
have an
renter? What if you were a renter and you didn't
Or
own
you're a
your
renter
home?
if you're a
You're a
apartment
vote.
dweller.
You can vote.
Yeah.
You don't- yeah, right.
So you probably have to show proof of electric bill or something like that.
Every resident 18 years or older of the district is eligible to vote.
All right, Ted, obviously it's an important position. What do you actually handle? What is your basic job?
The school board president, okay, let's step back.
Please.
The school board member,
Okay.
we're all the same. An individual member of a school board cannot make a decision.
It has to be,
It has to be the majority of the board,
okay.
okay? So school board member A could say, well, I want to do this, this, and this, and, go ahead and do it. You can't do that.
You got to get a
It
majority.
has to be the majority of the whole board.
So
not the
four.
majority that's sitting at the meeting, it's the majority of the whole board. So out of 7 members,
You have to have a quorum.
we have to have a quorum to have the meeting, okay? Number one.
Right.
Does that mean 4 people?
4 people have to be there to have the meeting, okay?
And 4 people
But you
have
have
to-
to have 4 affirmative votes for anything to pass.
Okay.
So if you have 4 people at the meeting and 1 votes no, the motion's defeated.
So give me an example, Ted, of what you would vote on. Like a,
Oh, we vote on various things, policies within the district.
Oh, give us,
Yeah,
as you go forward,
yeah,
give us
yeah,
an
give us an
example of a policy issue.
Okay, this policy we're talking about right now,
Please.
or starting to talk about, is the possibility of a dress code.
oh, like that.
Okay?
Right.
All right? I mean, it's a subject that has been bandied about through the district for a number of years.
Right.
Well, it's starting to come up again, so we're starting to have discussions on that. Next month, we'll have some presentations on it probably to go forward with it. It goes hand in hand with some of the things that may come up around security.
Right.
As you all know, within the last week to 2 weeks, we had an issue right around the corner from here at George Reed. It was well publicized in the paper. We have some policy changes that we're looking at right now that we're trying to work through with the public. We're actually going to have a public meeting on Monday night to where we're going to have the people come in saying, here's the ideas we would like to do, get their feedback, and then make adjustments from there. Then all those type of things, okay, if it's policy, okay, has to come through and be presented to the board and approved by the board.
Okay, Ted, let me ask you a
Not
question.
rubber stamped like a lot of people think it is.
Now, you are middle-aged, okay, so you're,
Thank you for the compliment.
okay, well, what I'm trying to say is,
Thought I was middle-aged.
like, Dr.
I'm not
Axe,
saying that.
Dr. Axe and you and I have an opinion maybe on dress code.
Right?
Maybe Joe, as a younger guy, and your son, as a younger guy, have a different opinion. I mean,
All right, so I vote yes.
well, no, what I'm trying to ask is,
Yeah,
me
go.
too, I'm voting yes. What I'm trying to ask is, what's the ages of the board members?
There you go. Thank you.
The ages of the board member, actually, it's fairly diverse. We actually
Well, that's good.
Youngest is who?
Yep.
Youngest is how young?
we actually
that they admit to.
I won't even venture a guess, but I will tell you that she has 3 young children in elementary school.
There you go. That's good
Okay.
enough. You're in. Okay.
So she's
Good answer.
she's there. We have 2 retired individuals
Okay.
that work for us. One's a retired teacher. One is a retired social worker that's on the board. We have another individual who is an IT specialist for a local company. Myself, which is a project manager for a construction company in the area. And we have 2 other individuals. One works for a fire alarm type company that came from out of state and is in the district and got involved in the board, okay, within 2 or 3 years after he moved into the district. And then we have another gentleman that's also probably in the range of middle age too that's involved.
So
What's the gender now? I heard one woman. How many women?
We have 1 woman on the board right now. We have 1 African American, and then the other 4.
Basically, I was talking about age, because when you're talking about bringing certain things up, I know that people like me are in one camp, and the younger gen, just like your referendums, which we're going to talk about maybe the next segment, where when you put a referendum out, you've got the retired people against the young people, which is a bad situation, but unfortunately it's the only one we have in Delaware.
Correct.
And we only have like a minute left in this segment, but we're going to get into that because I think it's an important thing about
I think
how
it's very
the
important.
government works.
And particularly with your background, and Walter, if you didn't watch the show before, shame on you, but this is, Walter's a retired real estate agent. And it is very important what school district you're in. And how good the school district is led largely by the school board.
Well, I want to ask Ted a bunch of questions about that because we only have 1 minute left, but I want to ask Ted a bunch of questions about if he has any input on the curriculum.
The curriculum is given to us in regard by the State Department of Education, okay? So which gets input from federal. Like
So
now
the feds tell the
now-
states, and the states
Yes.
tell the districts.
We're starting now with the Common Core. You've all read about that in the paper and whatnot. So that's all starting. We've actually been ahead of it for a year or so. We started it in the district, but now it's starting to get implemented across all the different school districts and whatnot. That's a very big undertaking, and it's expensive.
And it's a big issue.
Yes.
Which a lot of it I don't like, but we'll go there.
Along with the testing and whatnot that's all required by,
Right.
by the state.
I have some input on the testing. We'll get to that in a bit too. We're about to go to the break, and we'll come back talking with Ted Laws and his son JT right after break about what it's like to be a school board president.
I will keep dancing on point, even if it hurts.
My arm is killing me. I don't know if I can pitch another ball. But I'll just play through the pain anyway.
I have to do the big stunts to look better than the other cheerleaders. Our tosses are bigger.
My elbow really aches, but I've got to keep practicing.
Don't tell them it hurts. It'll take you out of the game if you do. I have to push harder if I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm feeling dizzy, but I don't want to tell anyone.
Everyone's counting on me. I can't rest now.
Nearly 50% of all sports injuries sustained by middle and high school students are from overuse. Don't play through the pain. See your healthcare provider and follow their instructions for rest and recovery. Take the pledge. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit stopsportsinjuries.org.
Hi, we're back on Youth in Sports at beautiful Wilmington University. We're talking to Ted Laws and his son JT. Well, we're not talking to JT yet, but we're talking to Ted, and Ted's got a lot of insight into what a school board president can do, can't do, how they do it, and we're going to get into some of the different nuances.
All right, so for the summation, the first segment we just talked about the fact that the Colonial School District and all the other school districts has 7 members of the school board, that they're elected for 5-year terms, that the elections occur in May, that there's a floating electorate. In other words, these people do not all come up at the same time, so you have senior people that have lived through the process, so that when a new person comes on board, that they have some guidance for what their job's all about, that we have the youngest member has 3 children within the district, and we have 2 retirees, and then we have the other 3 make them the working folk.
And the other thing is that the president gets elected every year, but can continue forever.
And that the school boards can be reelected for multiple 5-year terms ad infinitum.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
All right, I want to know one thing. We were talking about the makeup of the school board, especially in your school board right now that you're president of. Is everybody, they live in the district, I understand that.
Have to live in the district.
But are there kids going to school in there?
They have to live in the district that they're assigned to, whether it's A, B, C, D, or G. Okay.
Okay, so
they
it
live
is
in that district, but everybody in the whole Colonial School District can vote for each one of those members. It's not just limited to those people in that district.
So the 7 slots is actually based off of a certain location as well?
That's correct, because the districts are decided because of the population. We just went through a redistricting per se.
Because populations change.
Because populations change, and we just had the census, correct. So we had to adjust some. So my district that I'm assigned to, which is G, which is part of St. George's and part of the district that's below the canal and whatnot, actually grew a little bit larger because of the numbers of people that live in the district. It's like 10,000 or something like that we came. So we adjusted all those lines to be able to do that.
And that's why the census is important. And when people avoid the census, they're doing a disservice to their families.
Now, I was a little bit confused by that. When you have a school board member, are they running for the entire district, or do they have a segment of the district for which they're running?
They have a segment of the district that they're responsible for or assigned to or represent.
But anybody can vote.
But the decisions they make.
Everybody who lives in the entire Colonial School District votes for all of them. There's nobody at large or like a representative district in the Senate or the House or whatever. You can only vote for your representative. With a school board election, you're voting for everyone.
Everyone in the district votes for anyone, and they can, but that individual is responsible for their segment.
Is assigned to that one segment.
And Ted, what you said...
But realistically, those lines to us as school board members are non-existent because we have responsibility and ownership for the entire district.
But what you said, Ted, which was upsetting, and we're part of it too, is that probably less than 10% of the people actually vote for the school board.
Well, that's one phenomenon, but another one is getting people to run.
And why not? It's a big responsibility, and thank you for that.
My next question.
My two elections that I ran unopposed.
Unopposed.
Because nobody else had
Well, it's got to be tough. Think about it. I mean, you just said that you're
400 hours.
400 hours, which is, and then you have another job that you're working 50 to 60 hours a week.
Correct.
And remember, this is a volunteer position. Being the president's a volunteer position.
No, all of them are.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody on school board.
All school board. Don't get me wrong. The president is the person who, I'll say, leads the meetings and has some responsibility and whatnot. But all the school board members are all equal.
Right.
We're all equal. We're all members.
But
I can't do it. Me being president, or if JT was president or whatnot, they can't do anything more than the other board members.
Let me ask one thing. Do you get to set the agenda?
We set the superintendent sets the agenda along with my input or other board members. Any other board member can call and request something to be on the agenda. Our agendas have to be posted publicly, and we post them on the buildings 7 days before the meeting.
So in other words, when you have a meeting, I can come to it?
It's open to the public.
And
it starts at 7 o'clock every second Tuesday night, and we rotate between the different middle schools within the district.
Oh, okay, okay. And that's advertised in the paper?
It's advertised online.
Online,
Yes,
okay.
on our website.
I mean, so really this comes just down to the love of your love for the school district. I mean, there's just nothing else that can be said because the people
Since I was 16 years old, I've been involved in volunteer organizations. I'm a life member of Christiana Fire Company. My family, as I was growing up, my parents and whatnot were always involved in those type of organizations. They passed it on to us. We in turn, my wife Donna and I, okay, we've passed it on to our kids. You need to be involved with stuff. You need to be involved with your activities at school. When you get done that, you need to give back to the community because somebody gave to you. Okay, so you be involved in some type of volunteer organization, whether it be coaching Little League football, Little League baseball, or whatever. You have to give back.
Something that your son does as well.
Right. You have to give back.
Let me ask you a question, and that's a great theory. Both you and all your family, educated in Delaware, born in Delaware, raised in Delaware, so you're familiar with
His wife's at the university. She's in the hotel and restaurant management segment of the university, and has been very important to two of my children, Matt and Michelle.
Right, both of them. And also me when I got them down at the Taj. What about, give me an idea of what you're most proud of that you've accomplished in 5 years that you've been a board member. And give me an idea
And
of
he's in
what...
second 5.
Second 5. And give me an idea of what you're most disappointed in that you couldn't do.
Well, let's go happy first.
Well, it's tough because I like to see the district continue to improve.
Right.
That's number one to me, is what is best for the kids. And we're starting to see that our performance of our students is starting to get better. You know, we all know over the years William Penn has always had the bad rap. Well, it's not true. You ask a lot of the parents that are there now when they walk through, they're saying, we didn't know that this was all here.
Right.
Okay? We've just went through a reorganization of the high school. We actually have 4 little, what I'll call colleges set up in there right now. We have a culinary program in there that has a waiting list of students that want to get into that. We have a junior ROTC program that is very successful there. They've won a lot of national honors. Okay? We have our, what I'll call our STEM college, which has all the technical things in it, like the agricultural. We have an architectural group in there. People would not realize that we have anything to do with construction in William Penn High School, but we do.
Now
Plus we have the academic portion of it for the, with the honors programs and all that. I mean, we have, and JT can fill you in on that more than what I can because he was in a lot of the AP courses as well as Nikki was. But we have very high-performing students that come out of William Penn High School and go on to bigger and better things when they get done. We have people that have went into the service academies, Air Force academies, the Naval Academy, all those. And that's the things that we are now getting out there. We have a very active PIO, Public Information Officer out there. You probably all remember Lauren Wilson, used to be with another radio or local TV station. She's doing a very fine job for us getting all the positive stuff out there. So we're starting to see some of that stuff turn around.
Now, are you saying that the school board has a lot to do with that?
Well,
no, the school board has a lot to do with resources to give the students the opportunity, the teachers the opportunity to teach, and the students the opportunity to learn.
Correct.
And that's what their whole mantra is about. Any school board, that's our goal. And the fact that they don't want a kid who may not have the affluence to be able to go to a private school, to be undereducated when they have the aptitude, they want to be able to have the opportunity. And that's what public school education is all about.
The Colonial School District in William Penn High School right now is college and career ready. So we're looking at the whole breadth of the students. Okay, you have some that want to go on and go to college and continue on. You have some like, well, I really want to go out and get into the working world and go. Okay, we're trying to prepare those children, those students also. Same thing if they want to go into the armed services. Well, we're trying to help them do that. So we're trying to grab the whole breadth of that and get these
That's what
ready.
Makes the school board's jobs tough.
Right.
Is it's easy to do part one. Take the smart kids and say, okay, go off and do what you want to do. But to get the average kid, the opportunity is to make them above average, or at least find what they're good at.
Right.
Because if you're working in something you're good at, the reinforcement is so great that. And one of my questions I always ask kids, Walter, if you never had to work a day in your life, what would you do? Okay, and then when they give me that answer, I say, well, how do you make it profitable for you to be able to do that?
Well, what I want to know is, like, when
Please.
you're talking about all these different programs, You're talking about money. You got to fund it.
Correct.
Teachers.
That's correct.
You have something to do with that. Is that correct?
Well, we help set the budget.
Well, what discrepancy, what do you able to do budget-wise?
The superintendent's organization, her business director and whatnot, they prepare the budget each year.
Per student?
Well, what happens is the way that the public schools are funded, you get X number of dollars per student.
Right.
Okay? September 30th is the magical date. Because whatever your school population is at that point in time, that sets how much money you're getting from the state. Okay? So we have to prepare the budgets. We review all those. Of course, everybody knows what it takes to do a budget. Just think of the Colonial School District with roughly 10,000 students.
Well,
okay?
Give us examples. Air conditioning, we talked about this.
You have your operations cost, okay, which is all your electrical costs, your fuels, your buses. Probably one of the biggest expenses we have is transportation.
Yeah, right. I can
Next
see
to
that.
personnel cost. Personnel cost, of course, is always high. So, but we get some funding for transportation from the state. But with the recent budget cuts and whatnot, we've taken a hit on that because instead of getting 100% of it, it's cut back to 75%. So don't quote me on the numbers on.
The point is that it's proportionate to the tax base, and it starts at the feds, and it works its way down to the states, and then it works at the districts. But
and then to the county.
There's a little bit of confusion that we want to clear up in this segment. So you get your money from the state. Mm-hmm. Well, why do you need a referendum then if you get your money from the state?
Because that's part of the funding we get from the county. Okay, because the referendums that we have sets the tax rate on the value of your home, okay, compared to the value of your home. If your home's worth, like we just went for two referendums this past year. Our first one unfortunately was defeated, so we had to go back out for a second one. That was the first referendum that the Colonial School District went out for 20 years, operational.
Wow.
Operational.
Which is a good point.
Which is a good point because the money was very well managed.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But we learned a valuable lesson. We won't wait 20 years again.
And
so the purpose of the referendum is to affect the money you get from the county, which is what proportion of your budget?
I would say it's maybe 15 to 20%.
So,
and I'm venturing a guess.
That's okay, but 15. We're going to go to a break and come back right after this. If you're not interested in this, you should be.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means providing a personalized educational experience where students learn anywhere at any time. Wilmington University provides a variety of ways to complete your degree. Choose the flexibility of online learning, or attend classes during the day, in the evening, or on weekends at locations throughout the region. It's your degree. Choose how you earn it. Personalized education, affordable tuition. That's the difference at Wilmington University. What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding an innovative degree program that fits your goals and prepares you for a successful career. It means finding a school that fits your life. We know the importance of providing individual attention, affordable tuition, and unparalleled flexibility and service. Because at Wilmington University, it's not about meeting your expectations, it's about exceeding them. Personalized education, affordable tuition, that's the difference at Wilmington University.
Hi, we're back on Youth in Sports at beautiful Wilmington University, and we're here with Ted Laws and JT Laws, and poor JT has not got a word in edgewise, but that's okay.
I'm good with that.
But talking to Ted, we've learned a lot of different things about how the school board works, and now we're talking about money, which is probably the most important thing. You get the budget, and Joe brought up that what do you pay for? What's in the budget? Like I know gas has gone up 20 to 50 cents a gallon at different increments. How do you deal with that?
You do your best that you can.
And why a referendum?
let's go back to the
Go ahead.
fuel thing. Our operations manager and our transportation managers, and I'll just use buses for instance, one of our biggest expenses that we have. They're constantly looking at what's the most efficient way to run those buses. So we get the most students on a bus that we safely can, okay? Number one thing is get the kids to school and back to school safely, okay? So we're looking at what's the best way to get as many on the buses as we can, and then what's the best and most efficient way to run the routes. That's a whole operation.
So minimizing the
that parents don't
mileage.
realize to go on.
Now, how about, do you guys get to, and I don't know how this works, do you pick who the bus company is that you use? Do you
We have-
negotiate contracts like that? Is
Right.
that,
Within Colonial School District, we have some of our own buses, plus we have some subcontractors that provide us buses.
Now, the buses have seatbelts?
I can't answer that
They
question.
don't, which always struck me as,
Okay, we're talking about the school board. If they can't, you can't mandate, they
Can't
can't
mandate.
mandate seatbelts.
no, but they have to pay the insurance, which probably is,
Certainly,
that's another,
that's an issue.
that adds into another cost. I
It's not
mean,
expense.
All right, so you're involved in the budget process.
Correct.
The curriculum is dictated by the state.
That is
okay?
correct.
So what other questions do you have?
And
What they do?
and the curriculum it comes through, the superintendent reports to the board. People have to realize that the superintendent is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the school district. The superintendent reports to the board.
how
Do
many
you
superintendents?
select the superintendent?
Yes, we do.
No, you vote on the superintendent?
That's correct.
The sitting school board chooses the superintendent.
There you go.
So the Colonial School District has a superintendent?
We have a
Yes.
superintendent.
And every
Dr.
school
Dorothy Lynn
district-
is the current, every school district has
And
a
that's a paid
superintendent.
position?
That's correct.
How many paid positions in that group? Like, the president has what? Vice president, secretary, whatever?
What are you talking to?
You
Superintendent.
talking about the administration and the whole
No, the
total number of
superintendent.
employees?
How many people in that group?
We have one superintendent and one assistant superintendent.
Okay, so
But she has a whole other organization behind her that I couldn't quote you every one of those positions that are there right now.
No,
I
what's
wouldn't even
important that
mention
people need to know is the school board doesn't get paid. The superintendent gets paid, his administrative staff gets paid, but you are, if they need another position at the higher admin level, they do come to you for saying, okay, yes?
That is correct. Again, all of those positions, same as, all depends upon the student count that you have at the district. The number of students, there's a formula that comes along that tells you how many positions you're allowed to have, from whether it be teachers, whether it be administrators, whether it be nurses, whether it be librarians.
and then that adds into the budget.
You get
So
those,
then you
it's referred to as the unit count, okay? So we've made the decision that as much as what we can, instead of putting those positions in administrative spots, okay, we have to have a certain number of administrative spots to be able to run the district efficiently and properly, okay? We're trying to put more back into the students, into the classroom. Dr. Lynn and her organization has done a very fine job in really increasing that ratio on that.
Well, Ted, let's talk about the referendums again, because that's an important thing. It just came up. You know, one time you got defeated. What I found when I heard about referendums years ago, when Brandywine was going through, is that you get the retired people that seem to think that, well, they're done, so they're not voting for a referendum for the schools. And then you got the young people, of course, that have kids going to school. That's why I was asking you about the different age group on the board. How does a referendum occur? When do you have to ask for a referendum?
It's a fine line. You have to be balancing the budget. You have to be looking at the operational cost. And I'll just speak for Colonial. In the last 2 years, we were operating and paying our bills out of our reserves. So at that point in time, we knew how much we had left in reserve. Our CFO or our finance director did a calculation saying, you know what? We've got enough here that if we run on the track that we're doing right now, we'll be able to operate out of reserves for 2 years. So in 2 years' time, we need to go out to referendum, so for the following year, we start getting some of our money back, and to be able to operate the district to where we're not operating at a loss.
Okay, when you have the referendum and you issue a referendum, does that mean that my property tax is going up?
If it passes, it'll go up a certain increment depending on the amount that's approved during the referendum.
That's where the problem occurs with the voter.
Correct.
Isn't there another way? Has anybody, any geniuses, figure out another way?
A lot of other states do it other ways.
Yeah.
That's a very hot topic throughout the state Right now, that's the system that we have in place. That's what we have to operate underneath of. Is there a better way? Who knows?
There's a different way, Walter, but someone's going to complain about the different way.
Sure.
Anytime people have to pay for something it's okay when your kids are going to school and you're underpaying it, but you don't want to pay the fair rate when they're out of school. And for someone who's never taken advantage of the public school system and has paid his fair share of taxes in 2 areas, I feel that it's money well worth being paid. I made a decision not to do that. That's a decision I made. Don't complain about paying for school taxes, because you own the house, that's part of your responsibility. And if you lived in Kennett, Pennsylvania, or Unionville, your taxes would be 5 times as much.
Well, let me give you an instance. I, like you, chose to send my kids to private school. But when the school system is rated good, your real estate is worth more. That's what people seem to forget. The retired people seem to forget that all the time. If your school has a good, and everybody can check it on the internet, then the higher it is, the more your house is worth. That's the reason that you want good schools.
Well, no, that's the reason why you want to support
Exactly.
the schools staying good or
Putting money
becoming
into
better.
it, you're getting your money back.
One of the biggest things that people can do for their schools, and it doesn't cost them a dime, is to be involved. Parent involvement is one of the hardest things to try to get in place. We have a hard time doing that.
Ted, is that always a good thing?
And just give us
involved
examples.
with your kids to make
Ted, give us
successful.
examples of what can they be involved in.
They can be involved. They can be involved in things with their kids in the classroom. You know, talk with the teachers, saying, what can we do to help get the children to do better? Those type of things. They can be involved in the PTAs in the organizations. My first year when I was president 3 years ago, I made a point to go around and try to get to every PTA organization. It was a shame that when I went to 4 different elementary PTA meetings, the principal was there, the president of the PTA, and myself. 3 people out of a 600-child school.
Wow, that's sad.
That was sad.
That's sad.
You know,
Definitely.
Now, when you get up into the high schools, you have the booster clubs, those type of things to support the different functions between the band
Athletics
and the
band
different sports and all those kind of things. And that's a whole different topic there. But the parents need to be involved. And it's tough to get them involved. If somebody could tell us how to do it, please give me the idea.
It's a little bit different, because I see the parents are involved in your outside sports. I mean, outside activities. Your cheerleadings, your footballs, your little league baseballs.
You talk about extracurriculars?
Yeah, all the extracurriculars.
Maybe.
It seems like they're more involved than they are in the school. And I didn't know if it was there was a block, if people felt like they couldn't do it. And
We don't know the answer. We wish we did know the answer as how we could get parents involved. It would be.
Okay,
very
so
nice.
the plate's out there. It's on you, grandparents. Your kids may be working, but there's a lot of you folks out there. We're a grandparent-dominated show. They seem to like to watch our show because they've seen the young kids on for the 25 years since Walter had the great idea to do this. We need you too. You know, you can be the substitute for if your children are working and your grandchildren are in the school. They'll take you as a once removed aide. Wouldn't you say that's fair?
We welcome mentors all the time in the high school. If some of our programs, we're looking for people to come in and do a presentation to them. I'll use again the construction classes that we have. We have outside agencies, outside companies that come in and give a presentation on what their specific trade is to those classes. You know, if somebody has something they think that they can offer to one of the schools, all they have to do is contact the principal of that school and say, I'd like to come in and help. Here's what I think I can do. And I'm sure that each one of those principals would find a way to.
Joe, you got a question?
No, I just think, hearing you saying, like you said, about the grandparents, I mean, I know my parents are very actively involved in my daughter's education, and they go to all the things that happen at school because I can't be there because of time and work. But, I mean, I think that's really important. I think the kids get a lot out of it, their grandparents being there, their parents being there, and actively involved in their school.
Right.
And if it's going to help, and you said it doesn't cost them anything, whether it be just their time, volunteer. So I mean, I think that's something that we need to start to push, especially in the younger ages.
These are community schools, and so the community should be involved in them.
Ted, you had a magic wand, money was no object. What would you push for?
What would Colonial add if they had the resources? Now, mind it that occasionally the school districts have run ahead of budget, and they've had occasions where they've had excess, and they had to put out to the public how to spend that excess, and they voted to have air conditioners put in the gyms because they were sweating during the course of the activities, when they could have had turf fields and the kids could be outside doing more activities without having large upkeeps in on their fields, which is not just bogus. I mean, it's involved. But what would you put in?
If money was not an object, probably one of the first things that I would push for would be to be able to have more teachers, so you have a lower ratio.
What is it currently right now?
Right now, I would say we're probably running 25-to-1 on average.
How have computers inputted?
That's about average.
Like now they're showing, you know, in the colleges and a lot of the young kids in the young school, they're showing where there's actual classes on the computer. Has that affected?
We're actually, as part of our first referendum that we got defeated and we had to do some cutbacks on it, we had some technology upgrades that we cut out of that. And one of those, we were even looking at bring your own device type thing in, where we were trying to go over, because let's face it,
It's happening.
all these kids today,
They've got it, yeah.
they don't talk on the phones, they text everything, and everything's right in their hands and all that kind of good stuff.
We get firsthand into it. St. Elizabeth's just did it.
Right.
At St. Elizabeth's, they all have iPads, and that's how they do all their schooling through that.
We do have some banks of computers that we have out there that go from class to class. We're looking at that every day on what we could do to be able to bring more technology into the class to make it easier for the teachers to teach and get the message across what it needs to be.
Got 10 seconds left for this segment. Been very informative, Ted. We're going to come back and we're going to ask some more questions right after this.
I know they never make me play with these guys, but why do they make me train like them?
Training hard is important, and for professional athletes, it's their job. But kids aren't professionals and shouldn't train at that level. Keep kids safe on the playing field and out of the operating room. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit StopSportsInjuries.org.
We're back on Youth in Sports. We're talking to the Laws. Well, we're only talking to one of them, really. Ted Laws, who's the president of the Colonial School Board. Tons of information for anybody that wants to, and this show will be rerun a lot. You'll be able to find out how the school board works, not just the Colonial, but all of them. Ted, one of the reasons, the questions I was going to ask is the fact that we've had a lot of the VOTEC schools on, and that stigma with the VOTEC schools about kids not going to college is bull.
Correct.
The 80% to 90% of them are going to college, but a lot of them are going on to lucrative jobs, which here's before were thought to be not a college-bound thing. But they're getting jobs where some of the college kids with a BA are not.
Correct.
Is William Penn or any of the other schools that you are the school board president for, are they thinking more along the VOTEC lines of giving these kids some background?
Speaking for Colonial, we only have the one high school. But in that school now, as I said earlier, we have the 4 colleges per se that were in there. And one of those programs we have in there is a culinary program, okay, which typically has been just in the VOTEC districts and whatnot. But we have such an interest in that we started bringing that back in. And I know some of the other districts, the Christinas, the Red Clays, the Brandywines and whatnot, have explored that, and some are actually teaching some classes in there. I can't say exactly what they are. But yes, we have those. And as I said earlier, we have the construction module that we have in there. We have an ag program at William Penn. The Penn Farms, which is over on 273, okay? That is done by the high school kids out of the class. They actually grow the vegetables. They actually put the vegetables in the roadside stand there. They actually put the vegetables, we use them in the nutrition program in the schools.
It's life education.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. And I think that's even in some of the, I felt like I didn't get some things that I would have been better off had I had some things about teaching me how to run my checkbook and how to, and these are life things, to learning how to cook, learning how to take care of your house.
It's all part of the different programs that are going on, whether it be in the business classes or whatnot. Years ago, when I was in high school, whatnot, we had the industrial arts classes in the high schools. They got moved out for whatever reason. You're starting to see some of those types of classes come back. Not the traditional wood shop, metal shop, those type of things, but you're starting to see some of those come back into the traditional high schools, not necessarily the VOTEC districts, because they're pretty heavy in those different shops. But again, it comes back to the mantra that we say, college and career ready.
No, JT, my children will attest to the fact that we have a wide variety of topics that enter into the dinner table.
Oh yeah.
And certainly, what have you learned as the son of a school board president?
Well, for me, it's a lot about the process. Like you said earlier, it was one of those things that, a lot of people thought before that it was just a kind of cut and dry thing. This is how it was done. And just learning about the process has kind of instilled in me, like he has many times in the past, and kind of taught me lessons about what I need to do, and like I said, giving back to the community, that how important it is to get out and vote. I know when he was running for the school board, I obviously went out and voted for that and whatnot every year. And anytime there's referendums and anything, we of course get the information. He does his best not to put his input into it on what way to go or anything like that, but he also does educate. And that's been a big portion for me throughout my life. To the point now.
How do you tell the young people, like, you don't even use the system yet, you're not married yet, you don't have any children yet, you're not using the school board, the schools yet, okay?
But
so
I see
make
the value.
make the point to these young folks like yourself. You're vested. Your father's the president of a school board. So why should others whose fathers aren't president of a school board, why should they go out and be interested in this? It's easy. I have an easy answer if you get stuck. Go ahead.
We're all products. We're all products of it.
Well, you are right now. But why did I get involved with athletic training when Jeremy was 4? Because he was going to be an athlete someday, and I wanted good trainers in the schools, okay? So I was vested. It was something that would win for everyone. Same thing for yourself. You're going to be involved in the school system.
I'm going to be involved someday in those different things. And, looking forward to, our kids are our future. And the fact of the matter is, at some point, I'm going to be in his seat, and there's going to be somebody sitting here. And I hope that I've done what he did for me and had the chance to, learn from these different things, know that even though I don't live in the district anymore, I live in a different district, I still go out and vote for that district because I do see the value in it. And knowing that, my girlfriend actually being a teacher and seeing both sides of this. I've been a student, talking to a teacher all the time, and of course I have a school board member that I talk to quite a bit as well, president of the school board. But just seeing the value in what that public service does for the kids, being responsible to the kids and making sure that they have the resources that they need, and getting the information out there. I view his job as a president of the school board, as a school board member, as an educator in itself, because a lot of his job is to help bring the facts to the surface and give the chance for those kids to within the district to learn more and get the most out of it. I mean, that's one of the things
I'm going to ask your dad the toughest question you have. What have you learned about yourself from being a school board president, or is it about the process?
About the process?
Well, no, in general, we all take away. There isn't a board that I'm part of that I haven't learned something about me and something about the board and so forth. What did you learn from being in this role as president?
The whole process of what it takes to make a school operational and make it
takes
successful.
A village?
It takes more than a village.
Right.
It takes the state to do that. And I don't think a lot of people really realize that. I mean, you had said earlier about once your kids are out of school, you don't feel that you should pay for
Not me.
No, some people.
saying
No,
people
we always
out there,
vote. We always
Right,
vote
but
yes
say,
because
you know,
I understand
somebody
the
says, once
process.
my kids are out of school, why do I pay school taxes? Right? Well, you're going to have grandkids, right?
Well,
And you're going to have neighbors.
I want my neighbor's kids.
That's
Right.
right.
I want my
Somebody-
neighbor's kids educated.
Somebody
Yeah.
was paying when your kids went in. But another way to look at it too is, if we don't have activities for these kids to do at school, number one, getting their education and extracurricular activities, they're going to be doing something else.
And none of it's good. Teen pregnancy went down 40% when the Boys and Girls Club had started having midnight basketball.
Right. So the extracurricular activities in the school districts, okay, is so important for different items of what people really realize it is. Keeps kids off the streets, okay? It gives them life lessons.
Keeps them active.
Keeps them
Obesity is
active.
an issue.
Correct. But it teaches them various life lessons to deal with winning, with losing, disappointment, success, the whole deal. How do you work as part of a team? All those type of things. But it also gives the opportunity for some students that may not have the opportunity to go on to another level of education. Colonial School District is very high, low income population. A lot of our kids, you know, just be honest about it, may not have the opportunity to go on to school if they don't get some type of scholarship. Last year, our graduating class was approximately 380 some students, okay? I believe that the number of scholarships that went out was close to $1.5 million to $2 million.
That's great.
Okay? Please don't quote me on that number. But
No, okay, but I'm going to burst your bubble a little bit, okay? When they calculate scholarship monies, that's total monies earned by all the kids, and your top dogs may have earned more money than they could possibly spend. So they're responsible, the top 100 kids are responsible for more than half the scholarships monies earned. And it's not, you're not doing anything differently than everybody else does, and I hold everybody to that same thing. So I'm not picking on you, but I'm just trying to tell you that that's a number that could be misleading. Here's the better number. The better number is that if you get a B average, you can go to Del Tech for free, and that program still exists. So our goal is to get you eligible so that you can then actually go over there and be educated while you're there. Dr. Strait, we're running out of, we're in our last segment. Any question you missed that you wanted to ask?
No, I mean, what we got to was, and JT now, I don't know if anybody knows, is a volunteer baseball coach at Hudson. So he's in the VOTEC system. He's given back like his father has. And
he coached while I was going through school, although probably against doctor's advice. You know?
Well, I was at William Penn when I was going through school, and that was actually the first place that I did start coaching. As soon as I got done playing college football, I went back. Billy Cole asked me to come on over and help out with coaching that football team, and you know, I saw one of those kids that didn't have a chance, that wasn't going to go anywhere else, and really socioeconomically didn't have the opportunity. He came out and busted his butt every day, went to class, did study hall with us. We sat there and went through everything, and the young man earned himself a scholarship to a junior college and wound up going on and playing in a big-time college. And he knows who I'm talking about, and I won't embarrass him and put him on TV. But the fact of the matter is, that was something that I definitely saw, and that was in my first year as a coach. And every year that I've coached since then, I've seen at least one, if not multiple of those. And you know, that is, even if that opportunity for one kid to get that, that's the important part of it. And I do share, not only because of my background in sports, and you know, we're all very big sports guys here, but having that opportunity to give that to the kids, I think that's hugely important.
Well, it just goes to prove that you being involved, no kids in the school district, no kids at all.
No kids at all.
You're not a teacher. You're not. What I'm saying is,
he is a teacher, but he's a different kind.
But what I'm saying is he's actually volunteering his time to help these guys, and doesn't have any, in a sense, it's not, you're not getting anything from it except for self-satisfaction and making sure that these kids are doing well, like what you're doing.
Right, and you know, there's a lot of unsung heroes that are in here that are behind the scenes. You got the families of the school board members.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You're waiting 400 hours and they're waiting for dinner. I got it.
You have those that are out there too. So.
We're down to 2 minutes. Referendums are important for extracurricular activities. That's where they get their extra money. So when your county taxes go up, that's what goes to the schools in the referendum, and that's what allows them to keep your kids off the street, keeps your neighbors' kids off the street, keeps the kids that are on the street away from doing bad things that may impact you as a homeowner.
And new programs on a whole, different programs that can come in.
Well, Ted, thanks for coming on.
Anything new before we go? Anything new on the horizon? Anything big?
There was programs, like I said, that we weren't able to put in.
Well, the core stuff.
The
core stuff's already
core stuff
started.
That's starting and whatnot that's in there. But there's programs that we every school district would like to start, but financially you have to balance which ones you can do and which ones you can't. But we're in our third year of a new administration over there. We've seen different theories on different things and whatnot, and everything's going fantastic over there. And we appreciate the public support on getting our referendum passed the second time. And please come to the meetings. Be active
when you need a referendum passed, please come back to Youth in Sports, because we'll certainly put it out there for those people.
Well, we did it, remember?
We do it for
Brandon,
all.
yeah.
We do it for all the school districts. We think it's important. That's why Youth in Sports. That's the sports part of it. If your kids are playing sports, they're not getting into trouble. Hopefully not. Anyway.
Oh, join us next week on Youth in Sports. Go to our website to watch a repeat of this show, www.youthinsports.com. Click on. You can watch previous shows, and that includes anybody in the country or out. Good night.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding your relevance in the job market. That's why we offer career-oriented degree programs that meet employment needs in emerging fields. Dedicated professors bring their real-world experience into the classroom so you'll graduate with the tools you need to succeed on the job. It's your degree. Make it relevant to your career. Personalized education, affordable tuition, that's the difference at Wilmington University.
This show was sponsored by ATI, the company taking physical therapy to a higher level throughout the country. First State Orthopedics, where Youth in Sports hosts Drs. Straight and Axe are members of the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And President Jack Barcelona and his Wilmington University College of Technology, where each semester this student-run program is produced, directed, edited, and distributed under the guidance of the TV production faculty. Each guest receives a copy of the show, and all shows are available on the web at youthinsports.com.